Hi students, so here we go with the chi-square test, the first step. So when you have a certain hypothesis, the first thing that you do is you need to state what your hypothesis here is. So let's look at the situation. Sanvi is a member of a sports club. She noticed that more males played squash than females and was interested if there was any relationship between gender and the favorite racket game. She sent around a survey to the other members and to find out if they preferred tennis, badminton, and squash. So perhaps just looking at this data, maybe she's noticing that there is way many more males that are playing squash, and she's just wondering if there's some sort of a relationship between the racket sport that's preferred and gender. When you are stating your hypothesis, you always assume independence. This is important because if we just assume that they're dependent, then we can just go and kind of look for evidence and fudge it to confirm our hypothesis, and this is not okay. We start with the fact that the two variables, in this case gender and the sport, are independent. So your H0, it's called, or hypothesis, is that the racket sport and gender are independent. And then your alternate hypothesis, sometimes it's used as HA here for alternate, or H1, is that racket sport and gender are not independent. And please do write out the whole sentence. I'm just trying to make this as short as I can. So this kind of hypothesis testing allows us to investigate all sorts of interesting questions. For example, is there a relationship between smoking and lung cancer? Of course, now we know that there is, but there was a lot of science that went in, and therefore a lot of statistics were used until we were finally able to come up with the results where we had definitive proof and not just suggestive evidence. Let's take a look at one more. So 80 people were asked their favorite genre of music: pop, classical, folk, and jazz. The results are in a table below. And again, this one is investigating the gender. And in this case, we're interested whether gender and the type of music have some sort of relationship, okay? So our hypothesis, our H0, would be that type of music, or I guess I should say genre, type of music and gender are independent. That's always the assumption. And then your alternate hypothesis would be that they are not independent. Okay, so that's the first step. You always just set up your initial hypothesis. Bye.